Good morning and welcome to the January 7th, 2021 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. If any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the agenda, there are speaker request forms to the left of the dais. If you fill out the speaker request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to, then you can hand it to the secretary. At this time, we would also like to ask that if any member of the audience has a cell phone or other electronic device, that you either turn it off or turn the ringer to silent. If you need to take a call, please step out to the hallway so the meeting is not disrupted. The public hearing on item number 1, 20VA009 is hereby opened.
Morning. 20VA009 is a variance request for property located at 1017 West Boulevard. This property, the garage was damaged by fire on that west side of the property, and so the applicant is proposing to rebuild using the same footprint, and they need variances. The first one is the front yard setback from 35 feet to 22.5 feet, and that's from Fulton Street. Reduce the rear yard setback from 5 feet to 2.7 feet, and that would be on the west side of the property from the alley. To reduce the minimum required side yard setback from 5 feet to 0.8 feet on the north side of the property, and then the final one being to allow a lot coverage of 52% in lieu of the maximum allowed 30%. But we can see it's a existing single-family dwelling, detached garage. Property is located on West Boulevard and Fulton Street, so that is also being a corner lot is a unique situation. Property zone medium density residential district has our properties to the north, east, south, and then that property to the west is high density residential. Future land use is urban neighborhood, and West Boulevard is identified as a collector street on the major street plan. We do have a survey of the property showing existing conditions. This is also located in the West Boulevard Historic District, and the single-family dwelling and the detached garage were both identified as contributing structures. So we can go through. This is looking along West Boulevard to the north, across the street directly to the east, and south along West Boulevard. And you can see the unique character of the neighborhood. This is looking at the property from West Boulevard, looking to the west into the property. Across the street, Fulton Street to the south, and looking at the houses adjacent to the north. We did see in 2016 a variance request to reduce the front yard setback, specifically for rebuilding that stoop on the front of the house, because the front yard setback on this property is non-conforming. But they did get that variance back in 2016. This is looking along the alley towards the north. And then here we have the structure which was damaged by fire. And then looking at that setback on the north side of the property. As noted, the applicant is proposing to rebuild the structure using the same footprint, and it's the same size structure. The zoning ordinance, the spirit of the zoning ordinance is to allow the reconstruction of existing buildings in the same footprint to maintain the distinctive character of neighborhoods. And that's one of the things during a historic review that they'll look at for changes to structures or addition to structures, is how it fits into the character of the West Boulevard neighborhood. The West Boulevard Historic District is unique for its grid pattern with alley access garages. And for this property, the small lot size, the fact that it has two street frontages, West Boulevard and Fulton Street, and is a corner lot, The fact that they're reusing and maintaining the existing footprint and the unique circumstances of why they're here before us today supports the granting of the variance. There are some stipulations which staff would like to add to the granting of the variance, which is that no part of the structure shall overhang or encroach onto the adjacent property, and that is specific to this north side of the garage. It's so close to the property line that the issue being having a regular, normal eave is going to overhang potentially onto the adjacent property to the north. So stipulating that, you know, they have to figure out a design that would prevent that. Prior to issuance of a building permit, that they get an approved historic 11.1 review, and that the variance is specific to the location and footprint of the existing damaged garage. You know, as much as we look at this in the unique situation and the fact that it's in the historic district, we do want to, you know, and we're probably going to see more of these as other homeowners are coming in to rebuild, that were specific to the fact that this is a historic district, these are historic structures, trying to get them back to the way they were in keeping with that unique character of the district. But if someone came in and wanted to build closer to the property lines or increase the size or not use the existing footprint, that we probably wouldn't support that, just because we're looking at what is existing today. So with that, staff's recommendation is to approve with the stipulations as read.
Thank you, Fletcher. Haven?
A couple questions. The way I understand it, this would really be just reconfirming the previous non-conforming use with regard to these setbacks. And then the second question, with regard to the West Boulevard Historic District, are there construction requirements that the garage would then meet as it's reconstructed?
And that would be covered through the stipulation regarding the historic 11.1 review, is that our historic preservation planner and the state would review the design of the garage that is proposed, and it would have to meet with the design requirements that the state has for a historic structure in the West Boulevard district.
Vicki?
Mr. Chair, so the short answer is yes. There are certain features that they want to ensure are put back onto that structure, and the applicant is here today, and there will be some good conversation between Sarah Hansel, our historic preservation planner, to ensure that that is done again. Great question, and that's exactly why we do support in this unique situation that it be placed back in that original location, because that's kind of some of the charm of that neighborhood, is those garages that abut alleys and take the access out of the street and put it into the alley.
Haven had his first question kind of got overstepped by the second one. What we see today is just a previously non-conforming lot coverage and setbacks, and we're just confirming it.
This is all legal non-conforming, and we're because a building permit was one day issued for what is there, and so we're keeping with that, with what was once approved. So it's if there was never a building permit, then it's a different story.
Further questions, Haven? Comments? Okay. Karen?
Just a quick question. This is a rebuild of that garage, which is admirable. The question really is it a total rebuild? Are they going to take the whole structure down, or are they going to leave some of the walls up? I know in some cases they can do that, depending on what's left to save.
The applicant is in the audience. I'll have him come up and please.
Mr. Rangich, can you identify yourself once at the microphone for our minutes?
My name is Tim Rangich, owner of the property there discussed, and occupant. It was damaged in an arson, and there was some accelerant thrown down. and it's pretty heavily, it even cracked the concrete and whatnot. It's, the entire roof line is just charcoal. We just re-roofed it a few weeks before this happened, and the shingles were pretty much the only thing holding that roof up at this point, just because there's new tar paper under there. But yeah, it's, we're proposing to completely rebuild it. And we talked to Historic, I can't remember her name, Sarah, about putting the correct siding, correct trim, you know, to look just the same as what was there for the last 80 years.
Okay. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate the question and appreciate the fact that you're going back to rebuild this. And, you know, I'm sorry for your loss to start with. That was quite.
Yeah, we're just, hopefully they catch the guy. It's still going on in the neighborhood, so.
Me too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other?
Further questions or comments on this item? If not, if someone has a motion, or Rachel.
I'll make a motion to approve on the criteria that the granting of this variance is in harmony with the general purposes and intent to this title and will not be injurious to the neighborhood, detrimental to the public welfare, or in conflict with the city's comprehensive plan. So motion is to approve with stipulations.
All right. I heard 2 seconds. Mike Quasney seconded that.
Mr. Chair, we,
Fletcher?
with the stipulations of approval, or?
Yep, she's got
Okay.
stipulations on it. And a criteria listed. Any comments on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Item 1 is approved. And that's the end of the Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Mike Gallagher. And Karen seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion is, the meeting is adjourned. Now we'll commence the Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for January 7th, 2021. Again, if any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the Planning Commission agenda, please fill out a speaker request form that's located over on the left side of the room and hand it to the staff. And again, if you still have your cell phone on, please turn it off. Step out to the hallway if you need to take a call. Items 1 through 5 today have been placed on the consent calendar and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the city council. The city council will make the final decision with the exception of the following items. Item 3, 20PD033, and item 4, 20UR026. The Rapid City Planning Commission's actions on these items are final unless any party appeals that decision to the Rapid City Council. All appeals must be submitted in writing to the Department of Community Development by close of business on the 7th full calendar day following action by the Planning Commission. Are there any items 1 through 5 that staff would like removed for separate consideration?
No, thank you.
Any items 1 through 5 that a planning commissioner would like removed? I'm going to step in here and I just have a quick question on item number 3. And then any items 1 through 5 that any audience member would like removed. The chair would then entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar items 1 through 5 in accordance with staff's recommendation with the exception of item 3. All right, Karen made the motion to approve and Rachel seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On item number 3, I noticed that on the project report, there's a different description of the unit mix than on the applicant's letter. The project report says 13 6-unit buildings and 1 2-unit building. And the applicant's letter has a different mix. I just thought we should clarify which was which. I apologize, I'm late on this. I just happened to notice it this morning when I was doing my second or third read-through.
No, we appreciate that. Number one, it shows us you guys are actually reading all of the attachments, and that's wonderful, and none of us are beyond making a mistake. So while Fletcher's looking at that, Mr. Chair, if I could take liberty to maybe just give a little Planning 101 statement about legal nonconforming. You see us, thank you. You see us all the time say to you, like in a variance request, the structure was legal nonconforming. And you have to wonder, well, why is that? Why was it okay yesterday, but now they want to build back and it's not? And the short answer is that our first zoning ordinance was created in 1935. And it didn't have the setbacks or even the zoning designations that we have today. This structure that we just reviewed for the variance was obviously built many, many years ago. In 1968, we did many amendments over the years, but in 1968, there was a big overhaul of what our zoning ordinance looked like. And the setbacks that we are accustomed to implementing today were not created until 1968. So if many structures were built right up against lot lines, many of them are legal nonconforming because that was allowed at that time. And when they go back to rebuild or add new, they have to meet current day standards. So they are then termed legal nonconforming. And the variance is a great tool. It allows them to build back, and if they should ever sell that property and a banker asks the city for a zoning letter of compliance, they don't like to hear the term legal nonconforming because then they can't build back without that variance. And this seller has taken care of that. So we can say that pursuant to the variance granted by Zoning Board of Adjustment, this is now a legal structure. So just 1968 is kind of the magic year. And you'll hear us reference it a lot of times, and just think of that when you hear it. So it's not always a head scratcher. You know, what does legal nonconforming mean? There are legal nonconforming uses and legal nonconforming structures. That variance was for a structure. The use was always legal and still is today.
All right. So, yeah, the project report says 13 6-unit structures and 1 2-unit. And looking at the applicant's letter and the site plan, the applicant's letter is correct where it's 7 1 or 6 plexes, 6 4-plexes, and 1 4-bedroom 4-plex. So it's 7 and 7. Well, their numbers might not be right either because it's a 2-plex. But it doesn't affect the stipulations of approval. It's 70 units total. And that's what that stipulation number 13 is, a 70-unit townhome apartment complex, which would require that they be fire sprinkler protected, which is really what we're looking at.
Okay, I just got, when I did the project report math, I got 80 units, and when I did their math, I got 70, so just wanted to make sure that we had the right unit count. And it is, I anticipated there'd be someone from the applicant, but if it is an initial, so we get another shot at it, right?
Yeah, we'll get it right on the next one, on the final PD.
Okay, I have no objections to it. If anybody has any other questions or comments or a motion, I appreciate it. All right, Mike Aller made the motion to approve item number 3 with stipulations. And Karen seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6.
Good morning, everyone. Item 6 is 20 UR 25. It's a conditional use permit for on-sale liquor use in conjunction with a salon in the Bacon Park Shopping Center. So here's the Bacon Park, and it's currently zoned Community Shopping Center 2. Future land use plan has it as mixed use commercial. And here it is on the major street plan. So the unit in question is Unit F, which is highlighted in yellow there. That's going to be, right now it's empty storefront, and the applicant's plan is to turn it into a nail salon. And the applicant, I think I have the floor plan here. Yeah, it's the, on the left there is the nail salon, on the right is a hair salon, and the conditional use permit does not apply to that hair salon. So only the nail salon on the left. The applicant is proposing to serve beer and wine, in addition to any manicures or pedicures that would be offered at the nail salon there. And you can see at the front left of that building, there's a bar. The hours of operation are Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's proposed right now. This is the signage, what it will look like. And then I went out for site photos the other day. And this is the current structure. It's 1,550 square feet. This is standing in the parking lot facing to the north, facing to the south here. And you can see the Buffalo Wild Wings just a little bit farther down on the south. And that also has an on-sale liquor use right now. And then right next to the Buffalo Wild Wings, where they're doing the construction to kind of do the walkthrough, there's a pretty large application in right now, or I guess a proposal for like a casino and restaurant and bar type development that also has on-sale liquor approved as per March of 2020. This is the parking lot facing the structure, or facing away from the structure. So given that it's not an undue concentration of on-sale liquors in the area, and that it kind of contributes to the revitalization of Bacon Park, staff recommends approval with stipulations. Yeah.
Thanks, Marty.
Mr. Chair, if I
Vicki?
might. Thank you, Marty. So we've seen other salons come in for these same types of conditional use permits, and what the applicant has clarified, similar to the others, is the beer and wine would only be offered to customers. And if you've ever gone to one of those facilities, sometimes there's a wait, because they're very popular. And so they do have the unique design of having the bar where you could sit and wait, have a glass of wine, and then go get your nails done. They will card anyone that would come in. And remember, after this process, they have to go before the city council for a liquor license. The conditional use permit is really to determine whether or not this use is appropriate at this location in conjunction with the salon. And then the liquor license is the background check on the operator of the business. So noting that per their operational plan, it will function similar to other salons and those unique uses that we've seen throughout the city, like a lighting store or a furniture store. We wanted to ensure that it's not being opened up to the general public unless they're coming there for the primary use of the facility, which is a nail salon. And they've met that requirement, that they're limiting it to that same description.
Thanks, Vicki. Any comments or questions from the commission on this one? Mike Kwasny.
I guess the biggest comment, I'd like to comment on the Bacon Park in general. That place is really looking very nice compared to what it was. It'll be nice when they get the open area there during the summer. I think it'll add a lot to our community. I don't have a problem at all with this is exactly what we've done in the past, and I think I would make a motion that we support this and go ahead with it.
Okay, Mike Quasney made the motion to approve item number 6 with the stipulations listed, Mike? Okay. And Rachel seconded that motion. Kelly, comments?
Just a quick comment to piggyback onto earlier comments. I think this suite location is ideal. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better spot. We've got Buffalo Wild Wings in Suite 3, the proposed casino and bar and restaurant 4, and then this business going into F. If beauty salon's in G, I just think it's a perfect tie-in to where the other businesses are located relative to their operations. So I think it's the best location you could get for this complex.
All right, thanks, Kelly. And I'll just take a minute to echo Mike on this. It is so nice to see this level of investment in Bacon Park. It's a shopping center that had fallen on hard times, and it's really nice to see that investment going on. So, thank you. We have a motion on the floor to approve per stipulations. Any further comments on it? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. It's the end of our regular agenda today. Are there any staff items or discussion items today, Vicki?
Just a comment that we're still being very conservative about meeting with the public outside of the working session, Planning Commission, and Council. But we are hopeful that will change in the near future. And when that does, you will see coffee with planners again. You will see training sessions with some planning commissioners again. And we're bringing forward some rather large ticket item ordinance amendments. And we need to do some public open houses. And I will certainly reach out to all of you because I will need to have some of you present at those as well. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for being committed and coming each and every planning commission meeting and when you can, and always providing quorum. It's so helpful for the applicants when you do that, but hopefully, fingers crossed, in the near future, it'll look more like normal around here. Thank you.
You're here. Any discussion items from the commission today? John?
So what would trigger undue concentration? How many units? I mean, we've got 3 that have liquor license for on sale. What's the magic number?
So it really, excuse me, Mr. Chair. So it really has to do with the type of use that it would be associated with and the location in close proximity. The one that leaps to mind is we had a request on East North Street where there were several businesses that had on-sale liquor. There was one that had a pawn shop that wanted on-sale liquor that did get denied because there was a casino right next door that already had on-sale liquor, and another one right down the street, and another one right across the street. That would be a situation where the Planning Commission looked at it and said, we've got all these on sales in conjunction with casinos. Now we're going to put them into pawn shops too. And that was a concern that it would lead people to maybe make poor decisions and get fast cash. And so that would be an area of undue concentration. The Central Business District is identified as an area where it should be concentrated. So you always hear us mention that whenever we bring forward on sale in the downtown area. That's where we want it. If there were a row of restaurants and it was a secondary use, we would make that argument that because it was in conjunction with a sit-down family restaurant, that would not be an undue concentration. But if we're outside of the downtown core and there were 3, 4, 5 bars that wanted to open in a row, we would bring that argument back to you. Because the City Council has directed us several years ago that those concentrations of uses should be centered downtown with neighborhood bars here and there, but not a large row of bars in any other outside of the downtown core.
So I was asking specifically to Bacon Park. We have 3 in a row. And what are you going to tell somebody down the other end who wants to get it? That they can't have one because there's too many? I mean,
So again, if it were with a restaurant and another restaurant and another restaurant, you would not see that argument. But if the owners of Bacon Park wanted to put in 3 or 4 new standalone bars where that's the primary use, we would be having that discussion with you. In this case, we have 2 that are in conjunction with food. One of them also where the breezeway is being created. That's really an event center. So there's a casino, there's a restaurant, similar to places like Minerva's where you have a restaurant but you also have a bar area. That would count as 1 bar. But if it were a salon, if there were another use that would come in, like another furniture store that wanted to have liquor sales in conjunction with design classes, similar to what Furniture Mart did, which is now known as 5th and Main, we would look at that as not a concentration because that's not the sale of liquor is not the primary use. So they'd have a ways to go to hit that, John, but in working with Troy, he is aware of that as well. Thank you.
Karen?
I just wanted to mention, the undue concentration. I don't know if it started with the idea that you don't want to do that. It started a long time ago, and I don't know if it was because of all the bars that were downtown at that time, but there were so many bars at one time downtown, you could just literally spend all night long going from one bar to the next, and it just became not a good environment for everybody to be. There's nothing down there but bars. Nobody else wanted to go down there. So I think the idea of having undue concentration on this as a stipulation is good because you can at least look at it and say, is this a good mix for the community? Is it got enough restaurants, enough other things in there that it's just not a bar by itself? So, and I just wanted to mention that.
I think that word has also come straight from state law, isn't it? One of the only, sort of limiting factors we're allowed to use. I don't want to interrupt. Maybe we'll ask Wade, but Mike Klosny's up first. It's just my memory from video lottery discussions that you have, I think that's the only thing in video lottery that you're allowed to limit. I could be wrong, though. Mike?
I did have one other question that I thought of as we're discussing here. I want to go smoke my cigarette, and I have a thing of wine. Can I go outside in that open air area and do that? I can't remember what the state law says. We in Rapid City, they can't? I guess I didn't think about that till just...
Wade?
Okay.
So
Well,
I
it's
can,
just something
I
that
can
they
answer
might
half
wanna
of
be
it.
aware of.
So when someone comes in for an on-sale liquor license and they have an outdoor patio area and they show that as an area that they're going to allow people to go out and sit and drink, we bring that to your attention as we did at Bacon Park. And we anticipate that that's exactly what they'll do. And any area that they do have that outdoor activity, similar to our sidewalk cafes, they barricade around it so you just can't take your drink and go straight to your car. But as far as smoking, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the state law. It's not something that we govern in zoning. I can't hear you. You're not using your mic.
They're going to go out and they're going to smoke out there. I think is inevitable, but I was actually making more reference that they can go and have their drink out there as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eric Hikas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the designation for lead criteria is 100 feet from the entrance of a structure or an access point for smoking for the requirement for air quality. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that smoking areas need to be designated. Is that correct? I think by state statute. I don't think you can just eliminate that from an area.
Mr. Chair, if this is something you guys are interested in, we can certainly look at it and get you an answer. But right now, off the cuff, Wade and I are just guessing on the smoking concept, the part of it. The on-sale liquor, because that is something that we do have, you do have the authority to review as a part of any on-sale conditional use permit. We can bring you specific direction on it, but we could take a look and see what the state law is regarding smoking. Because you're right, if someone's going to be drinking outside, chances are that's where they're going to light up to.
This is just my opinion, but I think Mr. Kwasny is very correct in saying they're going to smoke out there. And then the enforcement is the tough part, right? You know, do you take their cigarettes away? I mean, what? That's the tricky part. Thank you.
Yeah, Vicki, if you're willing to
Sure.
do a little research, it'd be interesting both on the drinking and smoking side of a outdoor patio, knowing what the rules and regulations
Sure.
that the state lays down is.
Now that Mike's asked, I'm curious too.
Rachel?
I just wanted to note that if you didn't want to wait until the next meeting, you can look this up online. The South Dakota codified law is all online. You can just look at the Legislative Research Council website, and they have a really good search function. So any South Dakota law that you're interested in, you can find and read the text yourself in case if you wanted to find out today.
Thanks, Rachel.
Mr. Chair, I think what we'll do is, once we find it in state law, we'll just email it to you so we don't have to bring it up as a topic at the next meeting. Then you'll have it in writing.
All right, any other questions, comments, anything today? If not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn. All right, Rachel made the motion. Yeah, Mike Gallagher seconded that motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, Vicki.
Fletcher just noted, Andre, did they vote on that last item? Oh, yes, because we went to discussion. Yes, you did.
All right, all those in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?